Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is B. I talk about Nintendo content, and today I want to talk about the new Switch model, the OLED model that was just announced a couple hours ago, and just more so my thoughts and some surprises about it. It wasn't exactly what we thought it would be. A lot of people were assuming that it would have 4K, and the rumors are suggesting this as well, and DLSS. So far there has been no indication, and it seems very unlikely that it's going to have 4K, but it does come with some pleasant surprises and some nice upgrades from the regular Switch. If you guys want to see more content like this, please let me know. Please comment, like, subscribe, do everything that you do if you want to see more content like this. Today, Nintendo out of nowhere, they kind of just decided to drop the new Nintendo Switch model. And I woke up pretty surprised because I wasn't expecting this thing to be announced anytime soon. But according to the Bloomberg article, production was bound to start soon. So if a new model did exist, stuff would get leaked out pretty quickly. So I think Nintendo tried to beat all those leaks and ensure that they had more control with the announcement. What's new in this model? Primarily, it's called the OLED model. It has OLED technology. It gives a better screen to the Switch. Right now, I think they're currently using an LCD screen, which isn't bad by any means, but an OLED screen is actually better. It just gives better colors, just better clarity, and the sharpness is just a lot better in general, especially if you have gone from an LCD phone recently to an OLED phone. It has just a bigger difference. And while it might be less expensive OLED technology, an upgrade to OLED in general is pretty nice and should up the quality of a lot of games visually. This OLED screen also comes with an upgrade to the screen size. So it went from 6.2 inches to 7 inches now, which is actually pretty considerable when you look at the trailer and how they compare the screen sizes. This is nice for people who want less bezels on the Switch. I know this has been a little bit of a improvement suggestion that the Switch should have less bezels. I think that's a fair claim. I think the Switch is pretty bulky. I always thought Nintendo should probably use more of that bezel space on the Switch. It was always a bit big, I thought, for something that came out so recently. I know 4 years doesn't seem that recent, but a lot of the smartphones and other portable devices at the time, they didn't seem to have bigger bezels. But knowing how Nintendo is, this Switch is probably in production probably by 2015, and they're using some of the technologies available to them at the time. But now with this OLED model, they're using newer technologies and are taking more advantage of that, and in the process also making the bezel less noticeable. It's still there. I think they probably could have made it slightly bigger, but I think 7 inches is a nice spot where you can enjoy your games. Slightly bigger now might be a lot easier to read text for some games that do not offer support for bigger text sizes for some reason. Another noticeable change to the Switch model was the new wide adjustable stand. It looks like a Surface tablet stand, which is nice because the original one on the Switch sucks. It's very small. It doesn't really balance things out well. And I know for me, when I had my original Switch, my original stand would come off every time I try to prop it up. So this seems like a welcome change, and I appreciate that Nintendo actually listened in that regard and made the stand one of the bigger gimmicks that it has a lot more appealing to people. Another change that we saw in the trailer was that the dock now has a built-in Ethernet port. Now, honestly, I don't understand why that wasn't in there originally, especially considering how competitive some Switch games are, especially with Smash. I think Nintendo definitely messed up there when they originally announced the Switch. They should have included an Ethernet port. So I know it seems like something basic, but now you don't have to buy a proprietary third-party cable and complicate your setup a little bit more. Nintendo also announced that the Switch OLED model, I know it's a little difficult to say for me because now I kind of want to call it the Switch Pro, but the OLED model, it has enhanced audio. We don't know exactly what that entails. I know it says like, oh yeah, it's better, but like, how is it better? how significantly better is it compared to the regular Switch. Now, any improvement is nice. Personally, sometimes I just don't use my audio very much. I tend to play my Switch while I'm multitasking, so if I'm listening to something else, I just tend to lower the volume. But I would like to see better volume in cases where I'm actually using it, so I think this is a pleasant change overall. The most interesting part is that the form factor hasn't changed very much. It is fully compatible with all the Switch games and the Joy-Con, and probably a lot of accessories that have already been made for it. While we don't have all the specifics, it seems like it's very similar to the structure of the regular Switch, which is quite interesting to me. I thought that they would probably use a little bit more premium materials with it and make it look a lot different. I guess they use the white to make it stand out, and I guess it also has a new dock, and they're trying to make it stand out a little bit in the packaging, which has been unveiled. It seems like a vertical version of the Switch box, so I'm not sure if it's going to be smaller. Initially it looks a little smaller, but I think it just might be a vertically standing box compared to the original Switch. So I think they're using the same form factor, just switching the orientation a bit just to make it stand out and look a little different. One important thing is that the Switch OLED is going to be available in white or neon. I'd also like to thank Nintendo for all this information because they made it very concise, and I'll be putting a link to their Twitter account in the description below if you want to get news on the Switch or just really good deals in general. They're a great page, and I really appreciate the information they provided in a bite-sized form. Also, some recent news right now. Nintendo apparently confirmed that the Switch OLED doesn't have a new CPU or more RAMs. So it's the same Morrico chip that they've been using since the revision of the new model, and I believe they're also using it in the Switch Lite. So that is quite interesting. I don't think it's a horrible upgrade or anything like that. I think the price point makes it pretty fair. I wish they would have included a little bit of 4K in there, some 4K support. I was really hoping that they would add more features to promote the Morrico chip's power. I think we could have seen some upgrades for some games, but it seems like that is not going to be the case, and that's fine. I mean, it seems like Nintendo could still do that, but we have no confirmation of that happening as of right now. But, personally, I'm pretty happy with what was announced. I think it does a lot of good things. My primary concerns, though, are the Joy-Cons. It doesn't seem like they've upgraded or changed them at all. It seems like they're using the same Joy-Cons, and everyone knows about the infamous Joy-Con drift. I really hope they fix that with this new model, but I really don't have a lot of hope, especially considering that they're using the same Joy-Con style. It doesn't seem like much has changed. I was really disappointed that this model doesn't have a D-pad. I feel like this would have been the perfect time to include a D-pad on Joy-Cons, and I'm a little disappointed that they didn't. They should have, and I think that's something that was slightly disappointing. However, I will say the positives do outweigh the negatives. The colors are really nice. I like the white, while I'm a little concerned that it would get very stained very quickly. It also matches the aesthetics of other consoles that have come out recently, PlayStation 5, but I think it looks nice. I like both colors. I like the white and the neon. I really like the white that they include. They actually went in with this color. They changed the dock color as well, so it looks white and it's all like premium looking. I think the dock actually got quite a bit of an upgrade just looking at it. It looks really nice, and I hope it doesn't, have the same problems as the original one did, because I think that was another issue, that you needed a screen protector because of the dock, which doesn't make any sense, and it was a huge oversight. But I do still recommend people to buy screen protectors for your devices that have screens. I think for some people they don't mind the scratches, but me personally, and I know quite a bit of people who hate scratches. So just because this thing is OLED and probably using, I'm assuming, glass compared to using plastic, I think you should definitely stick with a screen protector. This console seems like it's going to be a nice upgrade for the holidays. I'm personally going to be getting it when I can. Hopefully I can get one, considering how bad scalping has been recently with the Metroid Dread stuff, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Collector's Edition, all that kind of stuff. I really don't want there to be a situation like this. I'm hoping Nintendo announces when pre-orders are going to drop, just to make sure that everyone has a fair chance to grab one when they can. I really don't like when it randomly happens, and I already have a lot of my Twitter pages to alerts for all the tweets just to make sure that I'm able to grab one. That's how bad the situation has gotten, and I would recommend the same if you're really trying to get a Switch OLED. It's something that is unfortunate about the current state of scalping and buying stuff on the internet, but I hope we can all have a solid chance of getting one, and I hope everyone who wants one can actually get one. To conclude this video, I think I just want to mention one more point. I think the purpose of the Switch OLED is to revitalize some interest in the Switch. I think that screen is going to be quite the selling point, just because that OLED screen, when videos start coming out of the difference between them, is going to be pretty significant. LCD is a nice technology. I think a lot of the games that I played portably look nice. Sometimes when the game is a little bit lower in resolution, it does not look as good. It looks very jaggy, and I'm really hoping that the OLED can, help circumvent that and make these poor looking games look even just a little bit better. I think that will only help with its value to a lot of people who like to play portably. I know I'm someone who does 50-50 portably and docked, so this is a huge thing, especially for those who use their Switch portably. Now, what does this mean for the original Switch? I think it's going to be fine for the next year or two, but eventually I think the Switch OLED is going to take the place of the current Switch model, which is good. I think once it gets down to that $250 price point, it's going to be an incredible deal, and I think the upgrade is absolutely worth it. It's $50 more. I know for some people it might be a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it. It seems like there's some more premium materials used in this one, but overall the form factor seems very similar to what it is, unless we get more news. But I think overall this package seems very good, and we have more ongoing information, so I might make an update to this or just talk about it more in a future video. So if you guys want to see that, just let me know, please. If you guys like this kind of content, again, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all these other things. I know I'm plugging so much, but it helps promote my content. It's a huge deal to me, and if you are willing to do that for me, I am very grateful. I'm very humbled. Until we hear more about the Switch Pro, or until I have another video idea, don't worry, I have a couple of them. I think I'm still debating on what exactly I'm going to do next. I just wanted to drop another video talking about this very relevant subject. I will be back, do not worry. When? Hopefully later this week, if not next week. And we will be bringing back the podcast very soon as well. So until then, I hope you're all safe. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Peace.